Happy 2021. And what better way to start off the new year with a conversation about motivation and what it means to you? Let's go ahead and brainstorm with Cozy Stone a bit and talk about motivation and how and what it is to us all, right? So go ahead, subscribe to my channel, click the like button, comment for me, and stay tuned.
Darling.
Hi, Cozy. How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Well, I'm complimented.
Oh, goodness. We used to gather together weekly at Limitless Ladypreneurs, and every time you always had some sort of contribution that was so useful at our get-togethers. And,
Oh,
I feel like it's been a blessing ever since I got your book, Cozyisms. Hey, and you started sending me those text messages every morning, and I was catapulted that I had to bring you on and talk to you. And you text me something about laziness, but instead of calling it laziness today, we're going to call it motivation. So I wanted to talk to you about your mindset around what do you think what's motivation to you?
how bad do you want it? In italics, in parentheses, in a block, what is your it? Right? How bad do you want a career? How bad do you want to be a great parent? How bad do you want to be a great teacher? How bad do you want to be a great friend? How bad do you want to be a great sibling? How bad do you want to be a great teammate? How bad do you want it? How bad do you want that 5,000 or 10,000 square foot home?
Right.
How bad do you want it?
I feel like that question is kind of getting lost in the loo with today's society because they're changing their definition of themselves, not according to what makes them feel good, but according to what society says is interesting.
Well, society has always been there. Society was here before with the Fred Flintstones. There was society. Come on, there's always the Jetsons had. I don't even know if you know who the Jetsons are. There's always been a society. Cavemen had a society. The dinosaurs had a society. So society is always going to be there. It comes down again to your being an individual. Aha! Therein lies the challenge.
Motivation within itself has its own feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for it to be the it that gives you the motivation, I feel as if we're losing that. Like recently I've had a personal interest in like understanding the different generations, particularly the Gen Z, right? And understanding that transition because I saw the cusp. We were still writing notes to one another, right? In school.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a phone in our pocket, right? So seeing that disconnect, like drowning of the motivation. That's why I make mention of the newer society. It's something unforeseen. So how do you feel about that disconnect and difference in the way that we now are learning to communicate with one another?
Wow. That's a great question because what we're lacking, and everything I say is my opinion. So let me put that out there first and foremost. I can only speak for me, not for the world and not for other people, as Cozy sees it. I have a friend who used to say the world according to Cozy. Communication is key. What I believe we're missing is communication. And it can be a text, it can be a phone call, it can be a letter, but we're really not communicating.
No.
I'm a person who, first of all, I love the Queen's English. I don't speak slang. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't want to. The words piss me off, quite frankly. And I say that in just when we're not able to speak in complete sentences. Society, there's where society is lost. When we have we have dumbed down or teamed down to 3-letter sentences. Laugh out loud. Now, I thought laugh out loud was adorable until I found out there was SMH. SMH drove me crazy because I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. And then I'd ask someone what it was, and then they'd tell me, and then I'd say, well, that doesn't work. Shake my head, SMH? Are you kidding me? How often do we actually say, shake my head? I mean, you shake your head, it's a gesture. Communication is so key. I like you, I love you, I respect you. I want to learn more from you. I want to, I had met a young lady last week. She said to me, I would like to pick your brains. That was a complete sentence, right?
Right.
I understood that. We got together. Now, this was a waitress that served me in Southern California. I gave her my card. We met the next day from 12:30 to 5:30. We communicated. She showed up with a notepad and notes. Oh my God. Right. We don't seem to want to actually communicate anymore. If we stop communicating to one another, then how do we know what each other feels, thinks, and wants and or needs? How is that conveyed in 3 letters? Now, I have 3 letters I'm not going to throw out right now, but if anyone knows me well, they know what those 3 words are, those 3 letters are. How do we do that? I mean, that's a rhetorical. How can we get along as a society if we do not want to speak and communicate with one another?
Right. How many stories do you tell yourself in the lack of the disconnect within that abbreviated communication, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to acronym how you feel, what kind of communication are you having inside of yourself? Mm-hmm. And what reality are you really living? Is it a pair relationship with yourself that's not even real, that you've created with that reality of social media? Or is it a real relationship with yourself? And I think that's what's happening, seriously. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have there's lots of strangeness going on right now in our society. It's because of technology. It's created a wedge between us, and yes, it has created a bridge to build us. But somewhere in there's a lack in that bridge that's not crossing over on both sides. But back to just plain English, which is, we're Americans, and that's our first language. So what? I don't care if you speak French or Russian. That is your mother tongue. It still has more than 3 letters. So how does a 60-some-year-old lady talk to a 16-year-old? Just like I'm talking to you. How does a 60-some-year-old lady talk to a 4-year-old? Just as I'm speaking to you. I'm in the school system speaking to 5th grade through 9th grades. It is a wonderful feeling and very moving for all of us. Anytime you have a 13-year-old look me in the eye and say, he says you're so relatable. How does a 13-year-old say to a 60-plus woman, you're so relatable? Because I communicate my thoughts, my feelings, my suggestions. It's really that simple. We have cell phones that we don't use to speak on anymore. I don't even know how to reach my friends. Do I call them? Do I text them? Do I email them? Do I Facebook them? And I sit around sometimes waiting for responses from something I've sent Maybe 3, 4 days go by and someone will say, oh, I saw your email. So now I have to say to each and every one of my friends, how do I communicate with you?
Right. What's the best way of communication, right?
Then what the heck were these cell phones, these mobile phones invented for?
Originating with motivation, and your quote that you sent to me last week that ignited this conversation was about laziness. And it's like, even I catch myself doing it with my phone. I'll be on a task and I will find myself to get easily distracted because of the phone, right? But then it's like, also when I call my friends in my age group, trying to get them to answer, it's like they'll even tell me, oh, I just didn't feel like answering the phone today.
Wow. Wow.
And I guess but that's okay. That's considered okay now.
We don't know if they're away from the rest of the world. Just because they're not answering our phone call doesn't mean they're not on social media. Doesn't mean they may be on Google looking up everything that we used to go to the library for.
Right.
Or I think it's a wonderful thing for someone to say, I didn't feel like, I don't speak on Sundays. I do not use my computer. I do not use to touch my phone on Sundays. Sunday belongs to me and God. I want quiet on Sunday. There's nothing I have to say to anybody on Sunday. And there's nothing I want to hear on Sunday. And if I mess up and pick my phone up on Sunday, then I don't talk on Monday. I have to have one day. So it's not a bad thing if in fact you're calling someone and they're saying, I'm just not talking today.
Right.
But say you have plans with that person and you want to confirm the plans, then, and they've not been firmed. So now you need to communicate to say, are we meeting tomorrow? Someone says, I'll give you a cozyism because this one gets me. So you and I set this up. Let's say you and I say, let's go to lunch tomorrow. And you say to me, I'll see. Well, you've got your phone in your hand. Our phones are our calendars, pretty much. Mine is.
Yeah.
So this is a cozyism. You mightily do or you mightily don't. It's called a commitment. So when I say to any one of my friends, do you want to blah, blah, blah? And they put maybe or probably, I say, never mind. And my friends know it's all with love because you're a grown up. You know doggone well whether you're able to. Come on, who you BSing? You know you can meet me tomorrow or you can't, or let's be honest, you just don't feel like it. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
That's still back to call communication.
Yeah.
But when you tell Cozy, maybe, God bless you, we'll do it another time. Still love you, but I'm not wasting my time nor asking you another time when you're a grown up and you know you can commit.
Well, you also have the security in your confidence to be able to carry yourself that way, that it's okay for people to be uncertain. And you're like, that's fine. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that because you have that certainty. And that's an art within itself. I would believe to say that that's what makes you so relatable and why your messages are so impactful is because you are stern in your own belief, right?
I don't know if stern is the word, but it's okay. I think I like that word. It's not as much as stern as convicted. I am convicted to me. I am committed to me, my beliefs, and who I am. That is what may set me apart a little bit from some of the others. I'm not asking people to what they think of me or what I should do. It's just, my life's too short for that. I just can't put that in other people's hands. I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, everyone can't matter. Well, very few people matter. And when I say that, I have a great group of friends who I love, who love me, and they know they matter. But on an intrinsic matter, inside where it counts, it's me and the man upstairs. Everybody else takes second nature. So why can't people, and this is my question, why can't people start committing to themselves? Right or wrong, take a stance. You mightily do or you mightily don't. And even when you don't, that's a stance.
Right. Well, self-love is very powerful. That's something that I feel should be culturally introduced to humans across the board, because then your motivation and how bad do you want this or that or what have you not can become very clear at a young age. Because I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to in my existence, when it comes time for the transition directly into life, right? They go to college, but they don't know what for. They don't know what they want to do. They're so uncertain. They're so unsure. Then they become easily depressed and things of this nature. And even as an adult, we stop learning. But maybe that's what we need to introduce, is what we need to start learning: motivation, self-discipline. Where do you earn all of these things? Via self-love. And when you get right with yourself, and I couldn't adore you even more than I already did before just by you making that statement, because it's true. You can't define yourself and your value by somebody else's existence. It's only within yourself. Yeah.
You gave me chill bumps.
Aww.
And Aphrodite, I thought, because it's so, I'm so blessed with this personality and the people in my life and even my conception. You know, it's one of the things I say when I'm speaking to groups, is see who comes in and appreciate the reason and the season, right? Everyone's not meant to stay, even though I have people who are here for a long, long period of time. But just this, what we're doing right now, I'm complimented and just so honored that you would see fit to have me on here with you this morning. I was just a keynote speaker at a publishing convention. I'm starting to, I need to get out there. I want to get out there. My message seems to be timing. It seems to be right at the right timing. I can give you a question. What is your purpose in life, Aphrodite?
Oh, okay. My purpose in life.
What is your purpose in life?
I'm just a natural teacher, like a natural healer, really. So even through real estate or even through the careers that I've built in my life, I've always brought a message to the people that I'm surrounded by, and I'm driven by my spirit. So as well as I have other intentions in my life, like there's a recyclable building material distribution 5-year plan that's in the place, and there's other contributing factors that I want to put forth towards society. But I'm a natural teacher. I feel compelled at certain times to make certain statements, and I know that they usually hit that note.
Your purpose in life is what most of our purposes should be, is to give to others.
Right.
That's it. So all of your actions will create your purpose. My purpose in this world is to make people think and laugh, and I'm damn good at it.
You are good at making people laugh.
I am.
You are really good at it.
To watch people, to bring laughter to others, and to know for whatever period of time that is, whether I'm on stage or doing a one-to-one, makes me feel like a millionaire. Because I know at that particular point in time, they're not thinking about anything else except something good. Right? Now, to make people think in a society where we appear to be lazy to use our brains when we can pick up our phones and pretend that we're smarter because Google tells us what it is. That's where I am right now in my life. Making people laugh has always been there. Making people think is important. So that's why I concentrate on the 5th through 9th graders. That's still an open mind. I have letters in here, and I really think I need to get them made into a book from fifth graders, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders that responded, sent me letters from me coming into their classrooms and what their thoughts were. And they say, no one told me that I should think about being an adult now. No one ever said to me, I shouldn't live with my parents, because I say to them, get out of your parents' house, get out. I call them users. I say to them, you're users. What purpose do you serve? You eat food, you're under somebody's roof, you don't buy anything, you're always demanding. Right now, you're called a user. However, your job right now in this point in life is to get straight A's in school to become a responsible adult. No one told them that. Parents give them the sneakers, they give them the phones, and they give them the whatever, these games, and no one says, you do realize one day you can't sit on my couch at 25 and play that game? And so guess what? They're now sitting on the couch at 25 playing video games. They're really still sitting there at 25. Some of them may have gone to college, and as you said earlier, no direction. When I heard people tell me that their kids are in college and they change their major every semester, and I say to them, and you're paying for that? Wait a minute. You're paying for your kid to not know what they want to bring? You can bring their asses home and sit them on the couch to decide to be nothing, because the debt is incredible. And then they don't want to. There is a direction in being a human being, an adult. I first came here in 2003. Somehow God put everyone I met, or the people I was meeting, had 4-year-olds. And each and every one of them was smart as heck. And I challenged them, and everything I gave them, they did. And I would say to each one of their parents, do you have any idea how smart your 4-year-old? 4-year-olds somehow have this mind, this sponge that says, throw it at me, I can get it. Throw it at me, I can get it. You don't throw it at them, they don't get it. No. They are willing to be challenged. Not 5-year-old, not 3-year-olds, but I would love a room full of 4-year-olds. I do somersaults all over the room. That was my experience with 4-year-olds. But as a parent, saying what you mean and meaning what you say is real important. And today's parents seems to give children options. They act like they're equal. I'm sorry, they're not. Your job is to feed them, love them, and give them a lot of direction. And then they pick up from your direction and they take that ball and they run with it.
Well, I feel that the reason why they give them the options, though, is because they can't even decide which way.
Oh, is that what it is?
You know what I'm saying? Oh. Well, like here, and this is, I give my children the idea of motivation through, they don't receive gifts or anything of that nature at all, unless it's Christmas or their birthday. When we go to the first few years, when they were very young, the difficulties, of course, maybe 6 or 7 times going to a store or what have you not, the idea of the cry when you're at the checkout, right? Because they've got all the trinkets and different things of that nature. And I remember one time a lady said, why don't you just give it to her? And I looked at her and I said, are you going to deal with her when she's 13 years old?
Good answer.
And then she wants something then the same way. And she looked at me, I didn't think of it that way. So, and it's not that they are motivated, oh, the only way I will get something is if I do something. And then, no, it's the fact that the only time they receive these things are on 2 days of the year. That is it. Literally. Right. Because it's the idea of anticipation and understanding the motivation of the time. Oh, can I get this at Christmas? It'll be July, right? And it's putting a framework around that idea of motivation and anticipation. And waiting for items. And I think that creates a type of relationship with a person's self in
Mhm.
patience, right?
Yes.
And my question to you now is, how do you teach actual motivation specifically to give them self-love? What would you do?
Oof. Well, those are two different questions, self-love and motivation.
I think the
I like what you're saying in terms of those two occasions. So let's take that for a moment. And the other part of the Christmas, more than the birthday, is earned. Is earned. So great grades earns you whatever it is for Christmas. Great grades, cleaning your room, making your bed. And after each chore or task has to be the praise. I appreciate that. I thank you. I don't care if it's your child, you still say thank you to your child. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend my mother said thank you. However, um, I'm also a different animal in that I love to clean. Don't ask my places. You can lick my floors right now. It's why one of the reasons I live alone. I love cleanliness. But I also enjoyed finishing and completing a task. And who knows, I'm old now. Maybe my mom was saying thank you and God, what a good job you did. She did something because I always enjoy doing it. So we have to give them feedback. We have to give them praise. We have to make them feel special and mean what you say. Each and every one of us needs to define what our thresholds are, what make us, and here's my big word, Aphrodite, here's the word of the day. What makes you happy? What makes one happy? I know what makes
real
me
happy, like real happy.
We don't have to put an adjective to it. Just happy.
Right.
My new title is PHP, professional happy person. I like that. I am a professional happy person. Does that mean I'm happy 365 days a year? No, but probably 340.
Well, you have to praise the journey as well, even if there's pain within it. That's part of it. That's like totally redefining your identity.
Well, you have to alleviate it. Pain is a healer. If you, let's say, break your ankle, that's maybe a bit extreme. You need to know the pain to know the healing. But if you keep self-medicating, you're not actually letting the body or watching the body do what it does best. Does that make sense? And I know the pharmaceutical companies will hang me from saying this, but I don't want any of their pains. I told my doctor last week, I respect your profession, doctor. I don't respect your prescription pad. Don't write me anything. I'm not taking it. Save your paper, save your pen. I'm not taking it. Right. If it comes to a situation, I have to, I'll figure it out. But I know I can handle pain. I know I can handle a lot of things. You don't get this age without dealing with a whole lot of life. And when it came strong and hard. And however, I lived through it.
Is that how this book came about? Tell me more about this. What birthed this?
Cozyisms came about through other people paying attention. The first rule of life is paying attention. As I talk, speak, communicate, and I'm paying attention to whoever it is I'm speaking to or whatever is being said, and I'll see this look in somebody's eye. And I've been doing this my whole life. In the 80s, when I first moved to LA, there was a gentleman who was a singer. And my girlfriend and I would go patronize him on the weekends. It came a point where he pulled out a book one time, and his name was Michael. In fact, I can say his full name because there's 10 million of them in the world. His name was Michael Smith. And it's got to be 10 million Michael Smiths in the world, right? Right. And he said to me one day, he said, Cozy, I want to show you something. He takes his book out and he said, you see this? I write down almost everything you say every time we get together. You what? He says, you're always saying things to make me think. That was in the 80s. Time has gone on. This book was written in 2015. And I started again, just paying attention to things that I would say that people would say, oh, the aha moment, the wow. And so I decided to put my cozyisms to print. I have 3 more coming out. I was talking to someone yesterday and said something and they said, wow. I said, there it goes. And I wrote it down. I'll be putting it in my next book.
Are you going to be doing the same concept with the art, or are you going to make something that's a little bit more you, just you?
No, it always has to be the art of paying attention. Book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5. Now, that's a great question. In that, what kind of art am I going to use? Right? So the gentleman that loaned me, who I've never met, by the way, he lives in New York City. We've never had an eyeball to eyeball. When he saw this one in hard print, he said, let's do another one. But he's in India right now. He's stuck in India because of COVID, and the 10 hours difference isn't allowing us to speak. I could use, now I also love to cook, and I cook really good food, good healthy foods. I take photographs of all my food. So now I could put my foods, and I don't want to be a cookbook. I'm not putting the ingredients. I'm just putting the pretty picture. My girlfriend said, you gotta do it. No, I don't. If you look at what I cook, you can look and see each and every ingredient and make it yourself. I may put some of the spices, so I could use art. I have another lady who owns a painting studio, lives around the corner from us, and we can't seem to get together. I want to get together and see if maybe she wants to put her art in here. Maybe I meet someone who does something with metal, and I put their art. Maybe I do I have a son, he's a photographer. Maybe I put his pictures, right? It's still cozyisms, the art of paying attention.
Right. It's really, really unique. It reminds me of how children learn in Greece. I know it's a very strange metaphor. And the reason why is because when I was 7 years old, I went to go visit, well, I've been to Greece many times. I was visiting a cousin of mine, and she took me with her to school. And it was very strange because they don't look and see who's there, right? Like they don't take attendance. Kids can come in and out kind of, but this was many moons ago. This was, so as going in, they all would read a book, right? And then they would go to each person, and each person would express what they learned, what they interpreted from what they read, right? And then they would write an expression of what their interpretation was that could kind of be like a paraphrase of that. And then they went back through and everybody would talk about it. So they were really understanding not only what they read and then writing, a report on it. They were hearing everybody else's perspective, right? And now if I were to take this book, right, and go to one page, just one page, and show this to one person, and then they read it, and another person, and they read it, because it has the quote with the piece of art, and then the art is correlating with the quote. It's definitely teaching you, it's programming you how to pay attention. It is. And it's kind of like how they learn in another country. They're programming them how to really pay attention. But to be able to do it this way is what'll work for adults, right? Because they've already gotten so deeply ingrained on their thoughts, the stories they tell them every day. So I'm like seriously looking forward to what you provide and what you make. I'm going to be excited.
And as you just said, you can read some of these every day and have a totally different perspective. Maybe it was just something that happened to you the day before. There are a lot of double entendres in there. Today, and then I don't know if you see, I post on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I'm so excited that I'm a social media person. So the day's one is, I've got 3 that are my favorites, but this one is And it's not in your book, by the way. I left 6 of them out. So my next, they're in the book, but I had to put it in. This one is just because, wait a minute, just because you can't see the elephant in the room doesn't mean you can't smell his farts.
Oh my goodness. You're so funny.
You go on Facebook today and see the photograph that I attached to the one today. It's adorable. It has, because I'm trying to find other art, if you would, to put with my book, as opposed to always giving the page cover. Right? I love my page cover, but because my hashtags is cozyisms, pay attention, think a lot, laugh a lot, I also want to include my sense of humor in there as well. But that one is a really, I don't like the word heavy, but let's say it's a heavy cozyism, because there's a lot that can go in that. And you know, you hear it all the time, well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Well, let's not talk about the elephant in the room. Well, just because the elephant's in the room doesn't mean you can't smell his farts. What does that mean? What does that mean to people? That one makes you think. I'll tell you one of my other favorites. And a girlfriend put it on a cup for me. If you don't want it, I don't want it for you.
Yep. That one's in this book, isn't it? Yes. Yes, it is. I really liked that. It is a little bit, it's personal. Not even necessarily heavy, but this one's real personable. It talks about really like, okay, bye.
Hey, I'll see you soon.
I'll see
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.